Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fairfield Financial News Podcast. I'm Andrew Miller, and I'm joined with my co-hosts,
Jonathan Vicenti
and James Protonentis.
We're excited to get into this. So, Jonathan, you want to start off with the market recap?
Of course. All right. Crazy week in the market, guys. Dow Jones Industrial Average closed at $38,904, decreased 2.3% this week, and on the year it has increased 3.2%. The S&P has closed at $5,204, decreased 1% this week, and over the year it has increased 9.1%. Good job. And the NASDAQ has closed at $16,249, decreased 0.8% this week, and its year-to-date performance is 8.2% increase.
Very nice. It was a good week. Well, rough week, but I think we're seeing some strong kickback.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So on Monday, there was a Israeli strike on a Damascus building for Iran. 2 generals were killed and a couple of military advisors. We're going to see some resistance in the market as we're expecting some oil insecurity due to this. Obviously, anytime there's a conflict in the Middle East, we see inflation rise due to oil prices rising. So that is something I'm expecting, and I expect will have an effect on the market as a whole.
Of course. And I believe, when did that happen? What day?
That was Monday.
Yeah, I mean, that's already well priced in by now.
Yeah, and we saw that President Biden today held a call with Netanyahu in which he reiterated U.S. support for Israel against Iran. But he also called for an immediate ceasefire to help stabilize the humanitarian situation in Gaza. I mean, this comes after an Israeli strike earlier this week, which killed 8 workers in what Prime Minister Netanyahu called a tragic accident.
That's from Thursday. That was from Thursday. And I believe the news broke on Thursday about this because we saw the market was up like 2-ish% and then ended it down about 1% because of this news breaking.
Crazy.
Yeah. And of course, rest in peace to the departed. Terrible what's going on in Gaza. We hope it can be resolved as soon as possible. This week, non-farm payrolls and unemployment reports have dropped. And guys, the labor market is thriving, as evidenced by this month's robust payroll report indicating continued strength in employment conditions. During the month, non-farm payrolls surged by 303,000, surpassing the Dow Jones estimate of 200,000 and exceeding the revised February gain of 270,000. Noteworthy hiring occurred in sectors such as healthcare, government, construction, and leisure and hospitality, with latter sectors' total employment now restored to pre-pandemic levels. The unemployment rate declined 3.8%, aligning with expectations. Average hourly earnings saw a 0.3% increase for the month and 4.1% rise from a year ago, meeting Wall Street forecasts. Regarding monetary policy, the central bank previously signaled anticipation of 3 rate cuts by year-end. However, Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkari recently raised doubts about the necessity of rate cuts in the face of persistently high inflation. He suggested that if inflation remains stable, there might not be a need for rate adjustments, noting the economy's resilience.
I think it's also important to think about what's happening in the Middle East. If we see inflation sort of rising because of the oil increasing, I think we could even see the rate hikes being delayed even further.
Yeah, of course.
So this week was very busy for the Fed. The Fed chair, Jerome Powell, reiterated previous commentary on Wednesday and noted that the latest data has not materially changed the Fed's trajectory. It was noted that the biggest threat to the 2% inflation target is housing prices. He added that it has been expecting inflation to come down more quickly than it has. So very interesting.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, what the Fed's doing is it's a really tough situation because they're trying to balance engaging the economy, making the economy grow by cutting the rates, but they also need to watch this inflation very closely to make sure it continues to follow the trajectory they want.
I mean, we can see this reflecting in the stock market this week. I mean, once this was announced, it kind of pulled back a bit, but I think overall, I mean, even though these rate cuts have been delayed, I think that people are still optimistic that these cuts will happen in the near future by hopefully the end of this year.
Yeah, of course. And it's also worth mentioning that following these reports, Treasury yields rose and stock futures experienced fluctuations. Yeah, I mean, investors really grapple with conflicting desires for a strong economy, supporting corporate earnings and growth, and a weaker job market promoting Fed intervention through rate cuts.
I mean, I think we're seeing a little bit of high expectations with the market. I mean, Friday, equities closed higher after a week that was pretty rough. So I think we're seeing the market sort of start to have some high expectations, and they're predicting better returns in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, now we just have to look forward to the CPI report.
Yeah.
When is that coming out?
I'm not sure.
April 10th.
4
Few
days.
days, yeah.
All right, so to get into some news, we've talked about this a couple of times, the EVs and comparison with hybrid cars. I think it's just cool to note that Ford is actually delaying their EV production and are looking on offering hybrid vehicles across its lineup first.
Yeah, man. You were right on the money.
Yeah, it's always cool to be right.
I think that Ford is realizing that these electric cars are being produced at a rate that might be too much for the grid to handle. So I think that Ford has the right idea in transitioning to hybrid before electric fully.
I mean, there are a lot of problems with electric vehicles right now. We're seeing everything that's going on with Tesla. They just cut their lowest cost EV. I mean, a lot of companies are having to scale back on these huge predictions they made where they wanted to go all EV by 2030. A lot of companies are sort of falling back on that because they're seeing this demand not reach where they were expecting.
Yeah, man. As a tree hugger and a hybrid and EV fan, always good to see the trend of companies moving towards EV efforts, man. Love it.
Yeah, do you want to start talking about DJT?
Yeah. So my volume might get a little loud here, guys. I've been wanting to talk about this all week. This is absolutely... I've never seen fundamental performance as poor as this company. So, DJT, otherwise known as Trump Media and Technologies Group, yeah, man, this company's convertible promissory notes will all be converted in the fiscal year 2024, aka by March 2025. Basically saying that, if you're a current shareholder, you're going to get diluted like crazy because the company only has 30 million shares of public float. Its unearned revenue is off the charts. All of its earnings come from ad revenue. And this has helped to explode its total liabilities, guys. It has increased 254% all the way up to $33.5 million. Its interest expense has increased nearly 10 times in the last year. All of its revenue is going to paying off its debt, guys. It has lost nearly 10 times the amount of money they have made. They're just burning through their pile of cash. It's down over 75% over the year. Its total assets are down 70%. The company has ridiculously negative accumulated deficit, which is basically the opposite of retained earnings. Its accumulated deficit is more than 20 times its total assets, guys. That is ridiculous. I've never seen fundamental performance this poor in a company. This company, I'm surprised it's even standing right now. It has given such limited information to investors. And despite all of this, it is up 230%, which I have no clue how. Obviously, people are donating because of the Trump name, and they just, big fans of him. But I just can't believe that the stock has soared this high with this kind of fundamental performance. I've never seen anything like this. It is more than a meme stock, guys. This is you're basically donating, and not to get political here, basically donating to his campaign. This is basically all it is, because nobody should expect to see any returns from this, any positive returns.
So you see, there's a lot of stocks that are unprofitable, and you see this a lot with tech stocks, and they're not making any money. They're burning through cash, like you've been saying. I mean, this isn't really an uncommon thing for a lot of companies. I think the reason why it has soared this much is because of, speculation. And that's a lot of what the stock market is. It's not really about what a company is really worth. And that's why there's opportunities to short or buy undervalued companies. So I don't think this is something that's really irregular in the market. I think it's something that is there for, it's just the way it is. It's the way the stock market works. But I want to ask you guys this question. I mean, I don't believe that this is the only company that this is happening to. I mean, you've seen it with GameStop, you've seen it with AMC, even a lot of tech companies. Some can argue they're unprofitable, they're way overvalued. I mean, is it really much different than any of those other companies?
Well, I think it's interesting because obviously right now they don't have a profitable platform. I mean, I don't think their platform has really entered the market well, but with the Donald Trump name, you have a lot of supporters. You already have an audience. You don't need to spend the money on marketing necessarily. You have that base of people that will support this company no matter what. So I'm not sure. I would not invest in this company, but I can see the value in investing in this company because if they figure out a way to make a platform that these people would want to use, they're going to have customers.
If you have the demand for the stock, I don't see any reason why one wouldn't speculate. I mean, you can say the fundamentals at the moment. Yeah, maybe it's not a long-term hold, but maybe at the moment it might be good to, throw maybe a couple hundred, maybe $1,000 in just to have fun with it. But
I think that despite its fundamental performance, when you look at their business model, like they're just throwing out ideas. It seems. I mean, they have True Social, and they're saying things like they want to compete with like Netflix and Meta. And I don't know if that means making a streaming service. I don't know. They're just everything that has come out about this company, it seems just like so disorganized. And I don't know. It just seems obviously it's not a profitable business model. But I mean, it just seems like it's just such odd news coming. It was such limited news. And the news that is coming out is just painting it in such a bad and disorganized light that it's just like I just don't see how anybody could invest in this.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked up how many users Truth Social has, and it's not even 1 million. I mean, I was thinking that at least people would use it because of the Donald Trump name, but like not even 1 million of our supporters are using this platform, which is like their main source of income, is telling me that it's probably not going to be a success long term.
Yeah, of course.
Because Truth Media came out a while ago, right? That was 2022.
Oh yeah, yeah. About a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
It was right when he got kicked off Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, the whole deal with creating it was like to have a platform that was like uncensored because, it was right after he got kicked off Twitter. But then Elon Musk bought Twitter and made it just so uncensored. So he basically just has like you're competing against one of the biggest social medias right now when it comes to uncensored. That was the whole name of your game, Oh, we're going to create a social media that's uncensored. Well, guess what? Elon bought Twitter, turned it into X, and now it's very uncensored. So, I mean, it's just, you're in competition with such a giant, it's, I don't know. It just seems not smart. I didn't even know it was still around. I haven't even heard of people using True Social.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was still a thing until I was read up on DJT. Yeah.
All right, so just to move on, I'm kind of curious. What do you guys think? Tesla, struggling recently. Not a great outlook on the company. It's one of the Magnificent Seven. Do you think it's going to be replaced? And if so, what company do you think could replace it?
Maybe they'll just do the Magnificent Six now.
Maybe.
I mean, the whole Magnificent Seven came from, basically what stocks were pulling up the, what was it, the S&P? I mean, just indices in general. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know who comes up, who determines the Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's based off of like the S&P 500 and whichever one's produced the most gains.
Yeah.
But I don't think Tesla's going anywhere. I mean, they definitely made some mistakes throughout the past couple of years, but like price cuts for their cars, which I think ruined some net profits for the company, thus reflecting on the stock price. I mean, I think while it would be tough to come back from that, I think that Tesla is a brand that is definitely the most well known in the industry, and obviously they have the leadership down with Elon Musk and all that. I think that they're not going anywhere. I mean, companies go through these kind of hardships all the time, even some of the biggest companies today. So I think Tesla is here to stay.
You know what? I'd have to agree with you there just because, I mean, I'm not entirely knowledgeable on Tesla, if I'm being honest. But, I mean, I feel like a lot of the things that we hear coming out is just like, it's kind of like stuff we've seen in the past, one with other companies and, like, two with Tesla, I feel like this is just, it's having very poor performance recently. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't see too much change. I don't see too much news coming out that could indicate that Tesla would have a big fall off, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, like, when you think of the Magnificent Seven, you're thinking of these companies that are going to be growing past the market, going to be keep pulling up this the S&P, and I don't think Tesla necessarily is that. So something I read is that Berkshire Hathaway is a potential replacement, and I think that's crazy, because it's like such an interesting company, because it's not like it's a company that sells cars.
That's the black sheep of the Magnificent Seven.
But like, honestly, the performance speaks for itself.
Wow, that would be something to see. Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I mean, I read that, like, you need to have $1 trillion market cap to be in the Magnificent Seven. I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure about the.
So I thought the Magnificent Seven was just like kind of like a socially created thing. Like, is it like a legit like?
I don't.
Does someone
I'm trying to figure this out.
I think it is like.
Yeah.
I've been trying to look up what the history of it is, and I'm not really finding much. There's a movie called The Magnificent Seven from the 70s, if you would like to know more about that.
There's also FANG, Facebook, Apple, Netflix, NVIDIA.
Netflix was another company that they said.
And then, I forgot Amazon in there, in the A. And then Google. That was the FANG companies. I don't know if that's relevant. Is FANG still like a thing? Like, is people still reference FANG?
I haven't heard it in a while, but they definitely. I mean, I'm sure some people do.
I mean, they're still doing great, you know, those companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's look into the Magnificent Seven.
I think it is just actually that group of 7 stocks.
I don't know. When did it like originate? Like, what is the?
Oh, their beginnings as FANG, and then it morphed into FANG-M with the addition of Apple and Microsoft, and then to the Mag 7 with the removal of Netflix.
Wow. Wait, removal of Netflix?
Netflix removed.
Oh, you're right.
Because it was in FANG and FANG-M.
Wow.
And then I guess NVIDIA was added.
You know what? Yeah. I did not know that. I didn't know that was the case.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, man, Tesla, we've seen, I guess Netflix got booted already. I mean, I guess maybe we'll see a ridiculous 6.
Maybe we'll see Tesla or Netflix come right back in.
Yeah. The comeback. Wow.
I mean, Tesla was new, too, to it, because it was Apple and Microsoft got added, and then NVIDIA's in it now, and then they took Netflix out. So I guess they added NVIDIA and Tesla in the most recent.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
The more you know. I did not know that. I thought that was just a little, like, you know. I thought it was so is it like a created thing, or is I thought it was just like social? Like,
I think it's just a social, like.
I don't think so. I think it's based off their returns, like the top performers in.
No, yeah, but I'm saying, is there like people sitting around the desk right now coming up with like what the Magnificent Seven is, or is it like a social construct? You know.
I think it's a social thing.
The more you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tesla's gonna be fine. I just think they have a problem, and unless they're able to figure out a way to continue to compete, they're gonna become stagnant. Because of course they're gonna have this market cap, because they have proven and really gathered a customer base that is very supportive of them. But unless they're able to continue growing and continue doing what they gotta do, I don't know if they're gonna see continued growth. Because there are so many more competitors, and the companies that have longer history, like Ford, who have loyal customers, are making EVs that can compete.
Well, I feel that Tesla's business model, like, I don't know if that's a relevant point, but just because Tesla's business model has been bound, you know.
That's true.
Everybody says, oh, Tesla's a data company, you know, you hear that all the time, and it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I feel like, you know, the history and, like, the model of those companies, I mean, I feel like it's a valid, you know, obviously in competition in the EV market. But I mean, saying that Ford is necessarily like a direct competitor in the sense that, like, you know, they're similar business models, I don't think that's you know. No, we got to remember that Tesla, it's unique, man. It's unique. And a lot of companies are following suit, you know, in its steps. But I mean, yeah, very unique business. Haven't seen many like it, and we haven't seen many execute what it does as well.
I mean, just the amount of data they have is impressive.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Last episode, we talked about Reddit IPO. I think we posted that the day before the IPO. I could be wrong, so perfect timing on our part. Reddit, on its IPO, it opened at $46.88. And then in the following few days, it shot up, absolutely skyrocketed to $68.22. And now, in the past couple weeks, it has subsided to a solid $47.56 and has been, just teeter-tottering around there. But yeah, man, I mean, we had a lot of negative things to say about Reddit, and personally, I've been decently keeping up with it. I understand that, like we said in the last episode, is going to be selling a lot of data to AI companies with large language models. And I saw I was listening to a podcast, I think it was Bloomberg, and they brought up a really good point. Why doesn't Reddit just create their own large language model and capitalize off the fact that they have all this data from Reddit and make, kind of develop a moat in that sense? Because that's what I believe X is doing, the same thing, where they're making a language model and they're having it where they're exclusively getting the data from X, And that kind of is that's making exclusivity and is making them unique, making a moat. So I don't know why. I mean, I don't know what the logistics is with that, but I mean, I'm sure Reddit could do it.
I don't know if it's worth it for them. They have to make a huge investment to get a whole new team. Obviously, they're pretty bare bones staff-wise. They don't have to moderators. Everything else is pretty much external. So it might be just but they just got a lot of liquidity from their IPO. So if they wanted to do it, now's the time.
Exactly.
But I don't think there are any plans to. I don't see that happening, because if there were, they would have included that in the IPO plans to increase the valuation.
Well, I feel like that's a great point there that you made with the funding from the IPO.
Yeah.
I feel like if they mentioned that before they went public, I mean, it would be way higher in price.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I just don't understand why they didn't do that. Again, I literally have so little knowledge on the logistics of creating a large language model like that. But I mean, like, with all that funding that you received, and like, if that was your plan ahead of the IPO and you said that, I feel like it would just be beneficial on all parties. The price of the stock would skyrocket, and earnings would increase subsequently from the large language model.
I'm just not sure where the value in the large language model would be. Reddit doesn't really need AI. I mean, they could do like a spell check or like a write this post for you type thing, but like I don't see where it's going to compete with large language.
No, I'm saying that if it makes a large language model and all the data is sourced from like the data that they have from Reddit, if you think about how much data Reddit has, I mean, if you make a large language model with all that data, I mean, it certainly holds a lot of value, especially, when you compare it to other large language models. If you just hold that data to yourself and make it exclusive to your large language model, that's very valuable, man. I mean, a lot of people use Reddit, a lot of valuable information's on Reddit. I feel like, I'm sure they had to have thought of this, and I'm sure there's some reason why they didn't do it. But I mean, I just from an outsider looking in with the knowledge that I have, I don't see why they wouldn't do that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the logistics are, but I think I don't think they need to complicate their business like that. I mean, if they wanted to, I could see the executives at Reddit making a strategic partnership with like a new company that is an AI company, and then selling the data to that company. That would make sense, because then you're not really jeopardizing the value of Reddit and the platform of Reddit, but you're also able to capitalize off this data and have the opportunity to make a lot of money off of this AI craze.
I think that we're gonna have to wait and see, because it's risky to say that Reddit's a buy right now, because we don't know for sure if they're gonna do this or not. So that's the risk. But if you really want to capitalize on that and you really believe in Reddit's cause, it could be something to look into.
Yeah, I mean, I also don't know what the value of data is. Like, of course, data is so invaluable, but like, what's the number? Because obviously, there's a ton of very valuable data on Reddit. So where does the price come, and like, how much money are these AI companies really willing to pay for this data?
Well, I mean, if you've ever been on Reddit, you would know that like probably like 70% of it is information-wise not the best information.
Yeah, it's just.
I beg to differ. I think the best information comes from Reddit.
Well, some of it is, but like a majority of Reddit information I do not think would be helpful for a.
I don't even use Google anymore. I just search things up on Reddit.
That's what I do with GBT.
Yeah, the FFN rating is 5 stars. Buy Reddit right now.
We're
Run
gonna
to
maintain
computer.
a hold. I think I'd maintain a hold for Reddit.
No, yeah, that was a joke. Yeah, I literally, honestly, I have no clue what the deal is with Reddit, whether to buy, hold, sell. But I mean, yeah, what was it? I mean, it started 46.88 and now it's 47.57. I mean, good job, whatever investment bank priced that in.
I mean, we are excited to introduce a new segment, our stock picks. So we're going to go over a couple different stocks. We're going to give buy, sell, hold, and we're going to
go at it.
We're going to get it done. So Apple, what do you guys think? I would say Apple's a buy right now.
I would say Apple is 100% a buy right now.
Apple looks like it's at a big discount right now. I think that it has a lot of growth potential, and if you want to get at a good price, now is probably one of the better times to buy Apple. So
we saw that price drop from that Department of Justice case news, and I literally think, I think Apple has such a good case here. When you look at, they're saying that you're getting rid of choice for consumers by creating such a integrated ecosystem. But then, Apple's just going to make the argument that, okay, well, if you make us make our product like everybody else, then in a way you're getting rid of choice, And I think that's, look, man, I'm a part of the Apple ecosystem. I would love to be able to, integrate it better with my other products. But, the case stands, if you make it just like any other product where it's, compatible with everything, it kind of gets rid of, that's their brand, and it kind of gets rid of consumer choice. So that's their argument going into it. I could see them winning. I could see them losing. Both cases are good cases.
Okay, so Reddit, we just talked about it. I would hold Reddit.
Yeah, I would hold Reddit too, simply because I don't know what's going to happen with it.
Let me look at it. It's hard to say. This is why Reddit is like all over the news, because nobody knows whether to buy, hold, sell it. If you really believe in Reddit's cause, I'd say buy it. It's pretty much as cheap as it's been since its IPO right now. So if you believe in the AI potential future, I'd say buy it. But personally, I'm holding away from Reddit.
I think long term there's a lot of value there. And then, so you guys want to just do 2 more?
Trump Media and Technology Group.
That's a big buy for me.
Yeah, big buy. Huge buy.
Yeah.
I walked in there and said, wow, that's a big buy.
Yeah,
just kidding. This isn't financial advice, but stay away from DJT like it's the freaking plague, guys. Unless you want to donate to Trump, in which case, yeah, go for it. But, yeah, just remember those fundamentals. What's another?
Microsoft.
Microsoft?
So Microsoft's interesting because it's at an all-time high right now.
Is it?
It is. Its current market cap is about $3.162 billion.
Ooh.
Trillion, sorry. Even their business model is just so sound.
There will be. It's gonna pull back eventually. So it depends It depends how long your horizon is. If you have a long-term perspective of Microsoft, I'd say hold it. But if you're just looking to kind of hold it for 6 months to a year, maybe be wary and look at it and ride the trend until maybe it stops that sort of momentum.
If there's one company that could take over the world, I think it's Microsoft.
Yeah,
so I'd say big buy.
I think Microsoft, it's just intrinsic value is all there. They have the data, they have the platform, they're essential for every part of corporate America.
Yeah.
They're responsible for like anyone that doesn't have an Apple computer's life.
Yeah.
The value is just there because they're so ingrained in life.
Sorry to interrupt. Even for Mac users, I'm a Mac user. I'll probably get a Switch soon. But I'm a Mac user, and dude, I rely on Microsoft services so heavily. It has such a broad range of services, and like Miller said, corporate America, and just basically, corporate America is basically founded upon Microsoft services. If Microsoft services just poof and went bye-bye one day, that would be the end of the world.
We'd all be using Google Sheets.
Yeah.
No more Blackboard.
We'd be doing slides and
Is Blackboard
Google Docs.
Microsoft?
No, I just made that up.
Oh. And then for our final stock, do you guys want to talk about Berkshire Hathaway? So this is like actually I think it's a buy, but whenever he dies, Warren Buffett dies, I think there's going to be chaos in Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I don't know if he's taken sort of a side position now that he's quite old, but like I don't think investors are going to support the company once he dies because people aren't going to trust that they can compete without him.
Exactly.
I mean, he's obviously a genius, one of the best businessmen, traders, brokers, company. I don't even know how to describe him. He did everything.
You look at when Brady left New England, man.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
I don't think Berkshire Hathaway would be negatively affected as much as you guys think.
No, yeah.
Because like all their business model is literally just buying other companies. So like they got stock in Geico, Coke, whichever other ones I know, like DQ.
Yeah.
So I mean like those are other companies like they're not being run by Warren Buffett. He's just buying up these companies with Berkshire Hathaway.
Exactly.
Well,
I agree.
He does improve the companies though. He goes in, he makes it more profitable.
Uh-huh.
And I think I'm not saying that the value of those companies is going to decrease, but the value of Berkshire Hathaway includes the genius of Warren Buffett. It includes the fact that he's going to make company picks that are going to succeed in the future and that have value that other people can't see. And I think without him, there's going to be some doubt whether or not they can really continue to compete in this sort of industry.
Yeah, I was kind of joking earlier. I agree with you, Jimmy. I don't think it's going to be as adversely affected as we're talking about here. But I mean, I definitely think we'll see, ripples from it. I'm not too familiar with Berkshire. How involved of a role does Warren Buffett play right now?
I don't know if that's even public.
Yeah.
Because he's still the company chair and CEO, so that makes it seem like he's still very involved. I don't know how involved he is, or if he's like training a protege, but he's definitely still involved. But I'm sure he's stepping back because he is getting older.
I mean, I'm sure he knows the risk of the company, eventually when the inevitable happens. So I'm sure that he is like training people to take over his spot, and putting those measures in for when that eventually does happen.
Exactly. I think it would be stupid to assume that they don't have a plan for that.
I'm sure they do. But another thing that's interesting is I believe Warren Buffett is giving all of his money to charity, and with 31% of the voting share in Berkshire Hathaway being controlled by him, I wonder what's going to happen once this is distributed between whatever charities he's giving his money to.
What do you mean?
Well, 31% of the voting share that was always owned by Warren Buffett is going to go to these charities.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's going to be sold and then the charities are just going to get the money, or if they're going to have control over 31% of Berkshire.
Yeah. I wonder, I mean,
I don't know.
That would be something.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
I doubt he would be doing it just to one charity, but who knows, man.
No, I mean, I doubt it, but like, it's just kind of crazy to think about. Like, in like 2 days or however long it takes, like 31% of the voting share is going to be just.
No, that's crazy.
Is that true that his shared Berkshire will be going to charity, or is it like his personal cash?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought he meant that his personal, his net worth, his cash.
Assets will be open book. Charitable trust will reach 99% of his wealth. But his 3 children are executors of his will. And trustees of the charitable trust. So the kids are going to be in control of 99% of this, and they're going to be able to choose what happens with it. So that means that they're probably going to be able to sell the assets and then give money wherever they feel fit. Or donate money to like charities that are looking to grow their assets.
Yeah. Wow, that's something. A little peek into
But I do think Berkshire is a buy.
Yeah, Berkshire's a buy. I mean, they're always so successful.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think that's all we have for today. We're looking forward to the CPI report coming out this week. And yeah, as always, thank you guys for listening and joining in on our ramblings. And we hope that you guys have a great week.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
FFN out.
Bye.